Is your trigger press really that big of a deal? Let's talk about that. Hey everybody, this is Mike with Personal Protection Academy. What do you think about your trigger press? Is your trigger press really that big of a deal? Well, let me tell you, I'm a full-time firearms instructor and I'm a competitive shooter, and I want to be the first to tell you I think your trigger press accounts for about 90% of your accuracy or inaccuracy. So now I've heard people say, and I don't disagree with it, that if you have a good solid grip on a gun, you're gripping the crap out of that thing. You can mask a crappy trigger press with a good grip. That's not untrue. But if you're shooting down left for a righty and down right for a lefty, and you can fix it, why wouldn't you, right? So let's talk about the importance of your trigger press. So first of all, with this SIRT gun, I want you to focus on the trigger, and I want you to focus on how we pull that trigger. So very first and foremost thing is we're going to take the trigger back to the wall, right? We're not going to pull through that slop. If we pull through that, then that's extra travel that we've got to make with the trigger, and let's avoid that. So we pull the trigger back to the wall and we start our trigger press there, right? So now we pull the trigger back to the wall, we start our trigger press there, and then what do we do with that trigger? The reality is that that's where the important stuff happens. If I can pull that trigger back real straight, then I'm not going to get a lot of movement on my gun. So take a look at the front sight. If I can make that thing not move, then I'm going to have, all intents and purposes, a good trigger press. Here's what we get though. It's usually not our trigger press per se that really screws up our shooting. It's our sights. So we have our sighting system, and that sight, that front sight and those rear sights moving together, they're not stationary because the wind's blowing and your heart's beating and the Coriolis effect of the earth turning and just stuff happening causes the sights to move. And here's what we do. We say our sights are perfectly lined up right now, and we pull the crap out of that trigger at that point. If we are just comfortable with the fact that our sights are going to move and they're going to move just a little bit, then we're okay. But if we mash the crap out of that trigger, we pull it aggressively hard, the whole gun moves. And what I want to do is I want to keep things stationary, and I want to have an easy trigger press so that the gun doesn't move when I pull the trigger, okay? So here's what I need to do is I don't want to pull slow. I want to learn to pull straight back. And how do I learn how to pull straight back? Is that's going to be through dry press. I'm going to take my magazine out. I'm going to rack my gun. I'm going to point my gun into something ballistic, preferably a chimney or a fireplace or something like that. And I'm going to work on dry press. And I'm going to watch that front sight not move when I take those trigger presses. And I'm going to teach myself to keep that front sight straight, keep it steady, keep it firm. And that's how I'm going to learn how to pull the trigger well. Then over time, I could learn to do the same thing fast and straight at the same time. But I've got to start slow. Here it is again. My opinion is that trigger press, good or bad, accounts for 90% of your accuracy or inaccuracy. So fix that. And yes, incorporate a crazy strong grip too, but fix that trigger press. Okay, so what do you think? Is trigger press really that big of a deal? Put some comments down below. Let us know if you think that we're right or we're wrong, but what do you think about trigger press? Okay, we'll see you next time on the range. Bye-bye.